The ceremonial blade clattered against the marble floor. Gasps tore through the great hall of Thornhold as King Kaelin Duscrin stepped back from the altar, silver eyes blazing. "There will be no binding," he said, voice cutting through the stunned silence like a drawn sword. "Not without Lyra Valemont at my side." Every head turned. Lyra stood at the base of the dais in a simple gray gown, the color reserved for the displaced, the color of rejection, the color of women cast aside. Her stepmother's fingers tightened painfully around her wrist. "Lower your eyes," Maricel hissed under her breath. "Do not make this worse." Worse. Lyra had already endured the whispers all morning. Cursed blood. Barren girl. Unfit to bear heirs. Unworthy of a king. And now her stepsister Serena stood where Lyra was meant to stand, draped in ceremonial silver, crown of moonstone resting on her dark curls, trembling in shock as the king abandoned her mid-ritual. "Your Majesty," the High Elder stammered. "The kingdom cannot delay the Luna's binding. The people demand stability." "They will have stability," Kaelin replied, descending the steps. "But not through a lie." He stopped in front of Lyra. Up close she could see what others could not. The faint pallor beneath his bronze skin. The strain in his breathing. The tremor in his hand as he reached for hers. When his fingers wrapped around her wrist, a sharp pulse shot through her chest. Not pain. Something else. Something tangled. "Lyra Valemont," he declared to the court, "is my chosen mate. She always has been." The hall erupted. Maricel stepped forward. "Your Majesty, the healers have confirmed." "The healers confirmed what they were told to confirm," Kaelin snapped. Serena's face drained of color. "Kaelin," she whispered, humiliation warring with fear. "You cannot do this to me." Lyra found her voice at last. "Why?" she asked him softly. "Why now?" His gaze softened when it met hers. "Because I will not watch them bury you alive." Before she could answer, his body swayed. Only slightly, but she felt it. Her grip tightened. "You're not well." "I am fine," he murmured, though his breath was shallow. The High Elder cleared his throat nervously. "If the king insists on defying the council, then we must postpone the ceremony until further deliberation." "No," Kaelin said. "The ceremony is ended." He turned his back on the altar, on tradition, on the kingdom, and led Lyra out of the hall. Behind them chaos erupted. Inside the private solar the doors slammed shut. The moment they were alone, Kaelin staggered. Lyra caught him before he hit the floor. "You're not fine," she whispered fiercely, lowering him into a chair. "You're barely standing." He attempted a smile. "I've endured worse." "Stop." Her hands hovered over him, unsure where to touch without hurting him. "How long?" His silence was answer enough. "How long?" she repeated, voice shaking. 3 years. Her breath left her lungs. 3 years. The same length of their betrothal. "You hid this from me?" "I hid it from everyone." "Why?" His jaw tightened. "Because kings do not show weakness." "You are dying." "Not yet." She knelt before him. "What is it?" "The healers call it a wasting sickness. They say it is old magic. Untraceable. Incurable." Lyra shook her head slowly. "No." He studied her face. "No." She closed her eyes. When he had touched her in the hall, she had felt something beneath her skin, like threads pulling tight, like thorns wrapped around silk. "Touch me again," she whispered. A flicker of confusion crossed his face, but he obeyed. The moment his palm met hers, the world shifted. For a heartbeat she saw it. Silver light between them. Bright. Alive. And wrapped in black. She gasped and pulled away. "What did you see?" he demanded. "I don't know." Her pulse raced. "Something is wrong with our bond." His expression hardened. "They said your blood was cursed. That perhaps the bond was flawed. And you believed that?" "I never believed you were cursed." His voice broke slightly. "But I feared if the bond was tainted, the kingdom would never accept you. So you let them call me Barren." Pain flashed in his eyes. "I thought I was protecting you. By letting them strip me of everything?" A heavy silence settled between them. Outside the chamber, raised voices echoed through the corridors. Lyra stood slowly. "Someone did this to you," she said. Lyra. Someone twisted our bond. You cannot know that. I felt it. She thought of the tonics Maricel insisted she drink every night. For fertility support. For cleansing. For balance. She had taken them faithfully. Until this morning. This morning she had poured it into the garden instead. Her gaze sharpened. Did your illness begin around the time of our betrothal? He hesitated. Yes. Ice crept down her spine. I need to search my mother's old chambers. Why? Because she once told me, Lyra said slowly, that not all bonds are blessed. Some are bound. And some are broken deliberately. His breathing grew labored again. She moved toward the door. Lyra. She paused. If there is even a chance you are right, you must promise me something. What? If you discover this curse is real, and it is killing me. She turned. Do not let it kill you too. Her throat tightened. I will not let it kill either of us. She slipped out before he could see the tears forming. The corridors were thick with whispers. Servants bowed quickly. Guards avoided her gaze. In the far wing of Thornhold lay the abandoned rooms that once belonged to her mother. Dust coated the furniture. Moonlight spilled through cracked windows. She moved straight to the wardrobe. Behind the false panel her mother had once shown her. Her fingers found it. A small wooden box. Inside lay a journal. And a vial of dark blue liquid. Her heart pounded as she opened the journal. The first page read, Few are reading this, then they have begun. Lyra's breath caught. The next lines were worse. They will say you are barren. They will say you are cursed. They will try to sever what they cannot control. Her hands trembled. The final line on the page. You are not broken. You are an unbinder. A sudden knock echoed down the corridor. Footsteps. Approaching. Lyra clutched the vial tightly. And outside the door, her stepmother's voice drifted softly through the wood. Lyra dear, we need to talk. The door handle rattled. Lyra, Maricel called sweetly, her tone dipped in honey and venom. You shouldn't be alone in this wing. It isn't proper. Lyra slid the journal beneath her cloak and tucked the vial into her sleeve. I'm not a child, she answered, forcing steadiness into her voice. The door opened without waiting for permission. Maricel stepped inside, candlelight catching the sharp angles of her beauty. She did not look surprised to find Lyra there. Her gaze flicked to the open wardrobe. You always did enjoy playing in old memories, she said lightly. Lyra closed the wardrobe door. Why did you tell them I was barren? Maricel tilted her head. Because you are. That's a lie. A thin smile curved her stepmother's lips. Is it? You pushed the healers. You insisted on examinations. You spread whispers. Maricel stepped closer, lowering her voice. The kingdom needs a fertile Luna. And Serena is more convenient? Serena is obedient. Lyra's pulse hammered. What did you do? Maricel's expression flickered just for a second. I protected this family, she said calmly. You were never meant for a throne. Did you poison me? The question cracked through the room. Maricel's silence was answer enough. Lyra felt heat rise behind her eyes. You've given me tonics for years. For your health. For your control. Maricel's voice sharpened. Careful. Lyra stepped forward. What did you put in them? Herbs, Maricel replied coolly. Nothing more. Herbs that suppress fertility. Maricel's gaze hardened. You should be grateful. Without those herbs, your bond would have drawn attention much sooner. Lyra's breath caught. You knew. I suspected. You knew about the bond. I knew that if you became Luna, everything I built would crumble. What did you build? Lyra demanded. A future, Maricel snapped. Security. Power. By killing him? The words slipped out before Lyra could stop them. For the first time, something like fear flickered in Maricel's eyes. You overestimate your importance. Did you curse him? Lyra pressed. Maricel's lips thinned. You are emotional. Grieving. Confused. You're deflecting. Maricel stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Even if a curse existed, what would you do about it? Lyra's fingers curled around the vial hidden in her sleeve. I would break it. Maricel laughed softly. You. Lyra held her gaze steadily. Yes. Silence stretched between them. Then Maricel's expression shifted, cold, calculating. "You will drink your tonic tonight," she said quietly. "Or I will tell the council you attacked me in hysterics." "You wouldn't. Try me." Maricel turned toward the door. "One more thing," she added without looking back. "If the king dies and you are seen near him in his final hours, the blame will fall naturally." The door closed. Lyra stood frozen. The weight of it crashed over her. He was dying, and Maricel had planned for it. Her gaze dropped to the vial. If the journal was right, if she was truly an unbinder, then this antidote might reveal the truth. She uncorked it without hesitating. The liquid burned like ice as it slid down her throat. Pain exploded behind her eyes. She staggered, clutching the edge of the wardrobe. The room tilted. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Then, silence. And sight. The world sharpened. The air shimmered faintly. Threads. Everywhere. Faint silver lines between objects. Between walls. Between the earth and sky. And through the castle. A dark pulse. She gasped. It led straight toward Kalen. She found him collapsed on the stone balcony outside his chambers. Guards knelt around him helplessly. "Move," she ordered. "Lady Lyra. Move." Something in her voice made them obey. She dropped beside him. His skin was cold. His breathing shallow. When she touched his chest, the threads flared into view. Silver light bound to him, and black thorns strangling it. Her breath hitched. "It's a curse," she whispered. His eyes fluttered open. "You came back." She swallowed hard. "I can see it." "See what?" "What's killing you?" He tried to sit up and failed. Lyra pressed her forehead to his. "Who did you anger 8 years ago?" His brow furrowed. 8 years. Think. He coughed weakly. "There was unrest at the borders. I refused a marriage alliance." Her stomach dropped. "Who proposed it?" "The Valemont house." Her blood ran cold. "Maricel. 8 years ago. Before the betrothal. Before her mother died." She pulled back slowly. "I need answers." "Lyra," he rasped. "Stay. I will come back. You cannot fight this alone." "I won't." She rose to her feet. "Where are you going?" a guard asked. "To the one who cast it." The Blackfin lay beyond the eastern marshes. By the time Lyra reached the crooked cottage at its center, the moon was high. The door opened before she knocked. A tall woman with silver-streaked black hair regarded her calmly. "Lyra Valemont," the witch said. "I wondered when you would arrive. You know me." "I know your mother." Lyra's chest tightened. "Did you curse the king?" The witch did not deny it. "I cast what I was paid to cast." "Who paid you?" "You already know." "Maricel." "Yes." Rage flared hot in Lyra's veins. "You're killing him." "I said a slow unraveling," the witch replied evenly. "It was never meant to be traced." "It is traced." "By you." Lyra stepped forward. "Undo it." The witch's eyes gleamed. "It is not so simple." "Then teach me." Silence stretched. "You do not understand what you ask." "I understand he will die if I don't." The witch studied her carefully. "You drank the antidote." "Yes." "You can see the threads." "Yes." The witch's lips curved faintly. "You are her daughter indeed." "My mother was an unbinder." "She was more than that." "Teach me," Lyra repeated. The witch stepped aside. "Very well." Lyra entered. Candles flickered. The air hummed with old magic. "You will feel pain," the witch said calmly, unbinding tears through both curse and host. "I don't care. You may not survive it." Lyra met her gaze without hesitation. "If he dies, survival is meaningless." The witch nodded slowly. "Then we begin." "You will not get a second attempt," Nyxera said quietly as the candles flared higher around the small stone room. "When you begin unbinding, you must finish it." Lyra stood in the center of the chalk circle the witch had drawn on the floor. Her palms were trembling, but her voice was steady. "Show me." Nyxera stepped closer. "Close your eyes." Lyra obeyed. "Find his thread." At once she saw it. Silver. Strong once, now frayed. And coiled around it, black thorns. "Good," Nyxera murmured. Now do not attack the thorns. That is how untrained binders die. Then what do? You loosen the knot that feeds them. Lyra inhaled slowly. Where? Look deeper. The image sharpened. There beneath the thorns was a single dark anchor point, pulsing, feeding the curse like a heart. Her breath shook. I see it. Then you must pull gently, slowly, and when it fights back you do not let go. Lyra swallowed. And if it tears me apart? Nyxra's expression did not soften. Then you will die knowing you tried. Lyra opened her eyes. I'm ready. By the time she returned to Thornhold, dawn was breaking. The castle was in chaos. Servants ran through corridors. Guards shouted orders. She grabbed the nearest one. What happened? The king collapsed in the council chamber, he said urgently. The High Elder is calling for Serena to prepare. Lyra didn't wait to hear the rest. She ran. She burst into the great hall just as the elders gathered around Kaelin's motionless body. Serena stood near the altar, pale and shaking. Maricel stood behind her, hand resting possessively on her shoulder. When Lyra entered, Maricel's eyes narrowed. Remove her, Maricel ordered the guards. She is unstable. No, Kaelin rasped weakly from the floor. Every head snapped toward him. His eyes were barely open. Lyra, he breathed. She pushed through the circle and dropped to her knees beside him. You should not be here, Maricel snapped. He needs proper healers. He needs me. Lyra placed her hands on his chest. The hall fell silent. The threads exploded into her vision. The thorns had tightened. The dark anchor pulsed faster. It knew. It sensed her. Lyra, Kaelin whispered faintly. What are you doing? Saving you. Maricel stepped forward sharply. Stop this madness. Lyra didn't look up. She reached for the anchor point. Pain shot through her instantly. White hot. Her breath hitched but she didn't release it. The black magic lashed back. The elders murmured in alarm. What is happening? One demanded. She's hurting him. Maricel cried. Guards. Stand down, Kaelin forced out weakly. Lyra felt the anchor resist. It clawed into her mind. Voices hissed. You are barren. You are weak. You are nothing. She clenched her jaw. I am not nothing. She pulled. Blood trickled from her nose. Serena gasped. Mother, make her stop. Maricel's mask cracked. You foolish girl, she spat. You don't even know what you're fighting. Yes, Lyra whispered through gritted teeth. I do. She pulled again. The thorns tightened around the silver thread. Kaelin groaned in agony. Tears blurred her vision. I'm sorry, she whispered to him. The anchor surged violently. Pain exploded through her chest. For a moment she nearly let go. Nearly surrendered. Then she heard his voice in her memory. I will not watch them bury you alive. Her grip hardened. With me, she whispered. Stay with me. She pulled with everything she had. The anchor cracked. A shockwave rippled through the hall. Candles shattered. Windows trembled. The elders stumbled back. Maricel screamed. Lyra screamed louder. The dark knot split open and shattered. Black smoke burst outward before dissolving into nothing. The silver thread flared bright. Golden light erupted between them. Kaelin inhaled sharply. A full breath. The first true breath in years. Silence fell. Lyra collapsed forward, barely conscious. Strong arms caught her before she hit the floor. Kaelin. Standing. Alive. Gasps filled the hall. It's gone, he whispered hoarsely. Lyra blinked up at him weakly. I told you. Maricel backed away slowly. This is impossible, she breathed. No. Nyxra's voice echoed from the entrance of the hall. Every head turned. The witch stepped inside calmly. It is undone. Maricel's face drained of color. You commissioned the curse, Nyxra said evenly. 8 years ago. The hall erupted in stunned whispers. Maricel's composure shattered. You have no proof. I have the contract, Nyxra replied coolly. Signed in your hand. Lord Edric stepped forward from the crowd, his face pale. Is it true? He asked his wife. Maricel turned on him furiously. You knew what was at stake. I knew nothing of murder, he said, voice breaking. You weak fool, she hissed. Guard stepped forward now, hesitant but firm. Serena began to cry. You promised me, she whispered to her mother. You said it was just politics. It was. Maricel snapped desperately. Everything I did was for this family. You poisoned me, Lyra said quietly from Kaylin's arms. Maricel's gaze flicked toward her. You would have been a liability. I was your daughter. You were never mine. The words hung heavy in the air. Kaylin's grip tightened protectively around Lyra. Maricel Valemont, he said coldly, strength returning to his voice with every word. You are stripped of title and lands. You will be exiled beyond the northern border at dawn. No, she began. Take her. The guards moved swiftly this time. She struggled, screamed, but the doors closed behind her. Silence lingered. Serena collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Lyra watched her for a long moment. You were used, Lyra said softly. Serena looked up through tears. I didn't know. I know. The elders stood awkwardly. The displacement ceremony. The High Elder began uncertainly. Will be abolished, Kaylin said firmly. Murmurs rippled. No woman will ever be stripped of bond on rumor again. He helped Lyra to her feet. And Lyra Valemont, he said clearly for all to hear, is my Luna. No one argued. 6 months later, the great hall was filled once more. But this time Lyra stood at the altar in gold. Not gray. Not displaced. Crowned. The kingdom knelt. Kaylin stood beside her, strong and radiant. When the ceremony ended, they stepped onto the balcony overlooking the cheering crowd. Lyra inhaled deeply. The air felt different now. Free. You saved me, Kaylin murmured softly. We saved each other. He brushed his thumb gently over her cheek. There's something else, she said quietly. He raised an eyebrow. She guided his hand to her stomach. Realization dawned slowly across his face. Lyra. The curse was never in my blood, she said, smiling through tears. Joy broke across his features. He pulled her into his arms as the crowd roared below. And for the first time, the girl they had tried to replace stood unshaken, unbroken, unbound. If you loved this story and want more powerful Luna tales filled with betrayal, redemption, and fierce love, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have forgiven Serena? Let us know below. And remember, some bonds cannot be broken, only revealed.